Hello there everybody, it is me XfreezerBunny. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build, and welcome back to another installment of Redesign Newcrest. So today we're building yet another suburban home for the save file, and this time we're doing a more modern / contemporary home. Last time we did a suburban home, it was more traditional. It was a family home. It's actually the house next door. If you can see it, it's to the right of this building. But this one, I made it for a single sim. It has a total of 2 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms, and I kind of envision this sim living here to be a little bit more eccentric. So this house does have several features that you wouldn't necessarily find in a typical Japanese home, such as a semi-basement garage, which is what we're doing here right now. And there's also a swimming pool out back as well, which I have heard is very uncommon for Japanese homes, but I do envision this as a home for maybe a more wealthier person. I see them as more of like a scientist or an inventor, and I will talk more about that as we go into the furnishing of this house, because I did incorporate a lot of their personality into the furnishing as well. But yeah, I'm just really excited to be back with the series. I'm currently doing some updates to some of the structures that we've already built. One of the structures that I am currently updating is the temple, which was honestly something that I was dreading ever since I knew that I was going to update this build because of the release of Snowy Escape. But yeah, so far I would say maybe I'm about halfway done with updating the temple. Some of the structures had to be rebuilt, by the way, so that is going to take a while. I think that the temple update is probably going to be in multiple parts. I'm looking at 2 parts, but you're probably not going to see it anytime soon, because I'm also planning on updating another house as well, and I would like to get that up sometime in March. Why March? Yeah, you'll find out when it's out. It may be a little bit of an anime reference. If you know the reference, you probably know which house it is. So yeah, anyway, this house itself, it was actually based off of, I believe, an Airbnb or like a rental home. Yeah, I was just googling, Japanese suburban homes, and this one just randomly popped up, and I really liked it for some reason. Even though design wise it's pretty basic, like it's basically just a box, but you know what, I really liked it because I felt like it gave another dimension to the whole save file, because I think that's what I'm going for with these suburban homes. I want them to occupy a variety of different styles, just to have some variation. So there's a traditional one, there's a kind of modern contemporary / traditional one, and then this one is definitely very modern, and there's still some Japanese elements to it as well, which you will see when we get into the interior. But as you can see, this house, it does have an excavated part, which is the sunken garage, and I had to cover it up to make it look like the house itself is intact. So I used those handy dandy tile pieces from Spa Day. I've been using those quite a lot in my builds actually, to cover up the sides where you can see the house is floating. So I really liked it, and I liked how they also matched the black wallpaper that I chose for this house as well. I think all came together really nice, and honestly, I love this house. I would probably live here in real life, and I think I would probably move my sim in here if it wasn't already occupied. Did I mention the save file is going to come with pre-made sims, and this is going to be one of the houses that is going to be occupied by a sim. Of course, there's going to be some starter homes, or maybe one starter home, we'll see. And yeah, I'm really excited for all of you to meet the Sims. I mean, you've probably already seen them if you pay attention to the speed builds, because the Sims that I use for the house tour I think are going to be the Sims that end up living in the homes. Maybe I'll give them some makeovers, but as far as like the family relationships goes, I think you can have an idea on, you know, the Sims and the relationships with the house tour if you pay attention. So anyway, I am so excited because I have been trying out different reshades recently. For some reason, I just randomly stumbled on some reshade tutorials and I tried it out, and I actually really liked some of the new reshade that I discovered, which I realized was not compatible with the original reshade that I installed on my computer, because I used to use like a reshade 3.4 or something, and then I discovered that some people used like an older version of reshade. I think it was 3.0 or something, and that one had more functionality. Surprisingly, the older one had more reshade presets that actually worked with it. So I'm playing around with those. So if you see maybe the thumbnail of this video a little bit different, that's why. I will have to tweak some settings so that it could look nice and consistent with some of the already put out videos that I've had for the series, because I do want to have a consistent feel for the series. In case you haven't noticed, I use the same reshade, the same lighting for all of my Newcrest videos. Yeah, but now we're working on the interior, and as you can see, this house does have a genkan, which is a traditional feature of Japanese homes. It's basically where you leave your shoes and then you basically go barefoot or you wear slippers all over the house. Oh, those bar stools, by the way, they were made by my good friend Hey Harry Sam. She's a really good friend of mine. In case you didn't know, the recent Sims 4 update did include items that were created by members of the community, and I am so proud to say that one of those creators is actually a really good friend of mine, Sam. Hey Harry, we've been friends since 2017, and I'm so proud of her, so proud of how far she's come and what she's accomplished. Like, I can't believe that she was able to create a set of items for EA to patch into the game, which is so amazing. I'm so proud of her, and the items look beautiful. I will be using a lot of them in this build, those bar stools and some other chairs as well. But anyway, speaking of recent Sims update, let's take a second to talk about kits. I think a lot of you probably already know my thoughts and feelings on kits if you follow me on Twitter, but I was kind of not really excited for kits. I was a bit confused why they were adding another tier of DLC, but once I found out what they were, I was quite intrigued, especially when I discovered some of them were gonna have some new gameplay. I was really interested in the Bust the Dust kit in particular. Haven't installed any of them yet because I have heard some, you know, news that some of the kits are still broken, which is kind of unfortunate, but I believe they are fixing it right now. So yeah, I haven't tried them out yet, but really interested for the Bust the Dust one, and the other ones I'm kind of like meh. You know, to be honest, I feel like a lot of the items are a bit repetitive. Like, I've seen a lot of them before, like the style reminds me of pre-existing styles in-game that we've had with previous packs. Like the kitchen reminded me of something that would come with Parenthood. The athletic stuff reminded me of something that would come with, you know, the fitness stuff pack, and I don't have a problem with getting content. I love getting new content. Of course, as a creator, I love getting new content, but I would like The Sims to kind of, I would say, focus their content on like the main line packs, because I feel like the game itself is getting a bit convoluted, and I feel like a lot of the content is unnecessary in my opinion. yeah, I feel like if they concentrated their efforts on making complete, well-rounded packs, then, you know, we wouldn't need to have all of these extra content. That's just my opinion. Of course, I'm happy for people who like this sort of stuff, but yeah, I'm a bit neutral. I mean, you know, I got some of the kits myself, so yeah, I'm excited to install them in game when I see a post that they're actually fixed, but at the moment I'm not really planning on installing them because I have heard that some of the gameplay is broken, unfortunately. But anyway, that was my mini rant about the kits. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think. But yeah, we have pretty much furnished most of the ground floor of this home, but basically the main room is one large open concept area. We have a kitchen, which has a dining area as well, and we have the living room, and then we have a little laundry area that leads on to the powder room downstairs. I really liked the main room actually. I don't know, there was something about it that felt really modern and contemporary, and also it felt Japanese, surprisingly. But now we're moving on to the upstairs. So this is where two of the bedrooms are located. And for this first one, this is the master bedroom. I was a bit indecisive on the layout. Yeah, I initially intended this one room right here to be the bathroom, but I ended up making it tiny because I wanted to make space for a walk-in closet. So the master bathroom ended up being super tiny, unfortunately, but it is what it is. The bedroom itself is really nice. I did make this for a person that's kind of really into the anime or like Japanese pop culture. I did say that they were kind of like an inventor or like a scientist, but I imagine them as someone who maybe grew up in the 70s or 80s during the golden age of mecha anime. I'm using air quotes right here. You can't see me, but I'm using air quotes. But I think that the 70s and 80s were the golden age of mecha anime because, you know, it's where a lot of the super famous ones came out, like Voltes 5, Daimos, that whole series. And I imagine them growing up in that time period. There's also like a Star Wars item in here. You can see that little spaceship thing. I haven't seen Star Wars, so I don't know like all of the references, but I have the Star Wars pack, so I might as well use it, right? For the save file, we will need to have all of the packs. Not sure if I'm gonna use any of the kits. I think maybe the cleaning one, but other than that, don't really plan on doing anything. But speaking of cleaning, I did incorporate some of the robots from university in this build. You can see that cleaning bot over there, so hopefully that can help your sim, you know, keep a squeaky clean home. And other than that, there's like some collections of robots and action figures, and there's a little flag over there as well, which reminded me so much of Voltes 5. I don't know why, that's just the vibe I went with when I was doing this, but I feel like, you know, the person living here would probably be really into the mecha anime, or Gundam as well. Yes, Gundam Evangelion. I actually saw the Evangelion movie, but I don't know if I saw the right one. I watched it like maybe 2 years ago. It's the, what was it called? Evangelion You Are Not Alone. I probably am triggering so many of you right now because I do not have a lot of background when it comes to mecha anime. To be honest, my knowledge of mecha anime is basically because of my brother, who's really into the Voltes 5, you know, phenomenon. But, you know, I was like, you know what, Evangelion sounds really mainstream. I've heard so many people talk about it. I'm gonna check it out. And I watched one of the movies. I honestly don't think I got what was actually happening. So yeah, poor me. I did tell my brother about this, and he was horrified that I watched that movie. So somebody can probably enlighten me in the comments below if I did the right thing watching that movie or not. And if you have any suggestions on how I can better get myself into the Evangelion franchise, please let me know as well. But yeah, there's also a guest bedroom in this house as well with an ensuite bathroom. Actually, no, it's not an ensuite because the bathroom itself is accessible through the hallway outside. But yeah, there's a guest room. I put a little single bed and a couch from my first pet stuff that I imagine would be like a day bed. But now we are finishing probably one of the more interesting parts of this house, which is the basement slash workshop slash laboratory area. You know how in like, I feel like this is a trope, right? But I feel like, you know, there's always like a laboratory in the basement, like Dexter's lab. Is his lab in the basement or something? It's like behind a bookshelf, right? But that was the vibe I was going for. You know, your sim can make some robots over there. They can even make like a servo. Is it a servo or simbot? I forgot. But yeah. And also I put like a fixer bot over there as well. I should have really put a gardening bot in this garden area out back. But we didn't really have any harvestables, so don't think it would really have a purpose. But yeah, anyway. What was I saying? Yes, moving on to the landscaping part. This house does have a huge backyard, which is very uncommon for Japanese homes, as I've heard, because apparently land prices are very expensive and it's also very limited as well. But I did want this to have a very dense feeling atmosphere, which is why I put this gigantic apartment building on the side of the lot, just to give it that feeling of denseness. So yeah, let me know what you think about it, because that's kind of my plan for the save file. I do plan on putting decorated buildings all over the place to make it feel more dense and more realistic, in my opinion, because that's just how the urban layout of Japan is. You know, it's basically like really dense neighborhoods, but I really like it actually. It has its own character to it that I find very charming. But for this house, I did want to give you a little bit of variety, so I was like, you know what, why not just put a swimming pool in here? This is probably the only house that's going to have a swimming pool, so all I'm gonna say is that Haru Nanase would probably be really happy to live here. That's all I'm gonna say. As for the landscaping, I'm trying to be more consistent with the landscaping itself. Like, I'm using some items that I've also used in the other suburban homes, like these planter beds. I feel like that gives the whole, you know, save file some consistency, but the plants itself, I did use some more, I would say, naturalistic looking ones, because that was the vibe I was going for the landscaping. The other ones are probably gonna have more bonsais and a more traditional landscaping, but obviously since this is a more contemporary home, I did go for a more modern landscaping. And I also forgot the fact that we now have the platforms, so I could have easily used platforms for this flat roof. Initially I used some shelves, but I ended up realizing that I could just use platforms, and I also threw in some solar panels in there as well. Over here in front, I put this little mailbox right here. Thought it was a really cute custom mailbox that I made using debug items, and I also found a car in debug as well that is this really modern looking futuristic car, and I really liked it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I gotta say for now. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and let me know how excited you are for the save file to actually be finished. I am definitely really excited for it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go now. Thank you so much for watching. You all have an awesome day. Enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.